Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 here with a new video on my thoughts on the fourth Great Ninja War so far. I've seen a lot of people talking about, their thoughts so far. Somebody asked me to sit up here and do a review on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my thoughts. Um, to be honest, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the things I don't like first, and then I'm gonna give you things I do like about the war. Starting off first, I would have to say things I don't like about this war. Starting from the beginning, I didn't really like the first battle. If anybody remembers, the battle with Sai. Wait, no, Sai. I think it was Sai, Kankuro, and it was a bunch of other random ninjas. I think the other one's Amoy, and they were fighting Sasori, Deidara, Sai's brother, and I think there was somebody else there. No, I think that was it. I think there was another. I think there was one more Edo Tensei, Shinobi, but I cannot remember who it was. But anyway, I'm like, I didn't really like how that battle went. Not because it was kind of fast paced, but because I kind of felt as though Deidara and Sasori should have been owned as easily as they were. Although I feel like Sasori's made more sense than Deidara. I mean, Deidara's, excuse me. Like Deidara seemed like he was too strong, in my opinion, for him to just get owned that way. The reason why I say Sasori being owned was fair, like I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Kankuro shouldn't have been able to beat him in the beginning of the war and all that kind of good stuff." But I'm like, it made sense because Sasori didn't have any of his puppets. He did not have a one of his puppets. He did not have his puppet body. He was back in his original body, if anybody remembers. Seeing like, of course he would come back in his original body, but he didn't have hardly any of his powers. All he had was his chakra strings. And you think about that, that would cut his power down quite a bit because that's how he fights. He didn't have his poison, nothing. And Kankuro had gotten, it's not like, oh, Kankuro had just gotten a little bit stronger. He had gotten a lot stronger, and you had a weakened Sasori. I mean, nobody can really say that Sasori was at his top game that day. So it made sense for Kankuro to win, at least against Sasori that particular time. Now, had he had some of his puppets with him, had all his puppets, had his poison, had his, his puppet body and all that stuff, then I could see what everybody's saying about, okay, Sasori shouldn't have been owned that easily. He shouldn't have been it, shouldn't have lost and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty legit then. And as for Sai's brother, I mean, him getting, he didn't really get owned. He just kind of like got sad and got teary eyed and faded away. So I think he's like the only one who really faded away. Well, no, Sasori too. I think Sasori and him were the only one who just faded away. Based on like their like sadness or remorse for how they were acting at that current time or something sentimental happened. So yeah, I'm like that. The first fight in the war was just kind of like I would say it was okay. It was okay. I would say that one fight I didn't really like was Mifune and Hanzo, but I'll get to it in a minute. Like the beginning of this war, to me, started off pretty good as far as the setup. Kishimoto set it up perfectly. And you know what? I still think the war has a lot of potential, but I don't think that a lot of people are really giving it a chance. Like now, let me get to Mifune and Hanzo. Mifune and Hanzo, I kind of think that that fight was a bit rushed in a sense, but I didn't like even though it's kind of weird, I enjoyed it, but I would have liked it if it would have been longer. And a lot of people didn't really enjoy the fight. Like at the time, I didn't. Like now, I kind of appreciate it, but I just wish Hanzo would have showed some of his jutsu. Like I think I would have been satisfied if he would have showed off a couple of jutsus and maybe Mifune. I mean, Mifune didn't have to lose. That's the difference. He didn't have to lose. But if he would have been injured or maybe been roughed up a little bit, actually seemed like he actually had to work for his victory. He didn't just zip by and just knock anything Hanzo had down. Then I feel like I would have been more satisfied. But then we also have to remember too that Mifune was immune to all of Hanzo's poison and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that makes sense. But it still would have been nice to see maybe a jutsu from Hanzo rather than just he has poison, like he has a poison in his body. I think he can breathe poison out of his mouth and all that good stuff. But another fight. Now I did like the fight with Choji and Asuma, like Team Shikamaru versus Asuma. I know that fight is kind of like some people think, oh, it's really good, and some people think, really didn't like it. I'm kind of like that fight was pretty good. I would give that fight a thumbs up, like for real. Like I loved that fight. Like Choji got excellent I mean, he got excellent character development in that. And Choji just, I don't know about Choji. It's just, I don't know. He just seems pretty epic in that. I mean, we've seen a personality change in him. His power. I mean, if you have power levels in Naruto, I feel like his power level went way up because before I kind of thought, oh, Shikamaru is a lot better than him. Shikamaru is stronger, and then I'm like, oh, Choji, he's really strong. I mean, he actually is to me stronger than Shikamaru now. I mean, Shikamaru is like kind of makes sense. Like Shikamaru is like it's kind of like the brains. I don't know what Ino really be. I guess she'd be support, and Shikam. I mean, I guess you could say Choji is like the brawn in the team. So they're a pretty well balanced team, if you ask me. And but what I think Kishimoto could have done in that fight to improve it, I mean, he could have made it a little bit longer, but I'm not really complaining about that fight. You know, I think it was fine the way it was. I think that was a pretty well done fight. And oh, I forgot about Daruri versus what are the Kengen brothers? Kengen brothers. Okay. The Kengun brothers and Daruri, their fight was pretty decent to me. I thought it was okay. I remember when it first came out, when the chapters were coming out, showing them and all that kind of stuff. People were complaining. People were upset, and this is just the stupidest thing to me. When people go ahead and sit, I'm sorry, people. I'm just when you go ahead and talk about, oh well, I want to see I want to see all the other characters fight. I want to see some of these characters get developed. And then I remember when this all was going on, people were like, "Where's Naruto? We haven't seen him in a few chapters." I'm like, I just was appalled by that. That people just, it's almost like Kishimoto can't satisfy his fans no matter what he does. If he doesn't show Naruto for about 4 or 5 chapters, people get complaining. People get upset. People, I'm like, then if he shows, if he's developing other characters like he did with that, then people were upset. And then when he goes back to Naruto, then everybody's, like for a minute, maybe for about 1 chapter or 2, people will be happy. Then everybody's upset again. Why are we seeing Naruto? Why is he running around? Why is he in this war? And it's just kind of weird to me that you just get so upset about that. Like, okay, well, what do you want Kishimoto to do? But anyway, I mean, I thought that fight overall was pretty good. I think that it added a little stuff. I mean, some little stuff we didn't know about the Sage Six Paths. We learned about the weapons of the Sage. I think it's going to come up important in the future. So I don't think that should just be taken lightly. And what's another fight that happened in this war so far? Dang, I can't even remember these fights right now. Nagato and Itachi versus Killer Bee and Naruto. That fight, I think that fight was pretty good. A lot of people said it was rushed. I don't think it was really too rushed. To be honest, we already knew what these characters could do, so I didn't need to see a long, drawn-out battle of them all going at it. Because obviously, we've seen what Pain can do. No new surprises. We've seen what Itachi can do. I mean, Itachi probably has maybe one jutsu left that we haven't seen that he's talking about. He's got a plan for Kabuto. That's about it. But other than that, we've seen basically everything that that they've shown off. We've seen Itachi's moves all against Sasuke, except for maybe one move. I think it's called Yasaka's Magatama or something like that. Where he shoots this little Sharingan looking thing, like it's kind of like a shuriken, and he threw it at Shibaku Tensei. So I'm gonna have to say, that fight was pretty decent to me. I don't really see how people could have expected more out of it. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this into 2 parts. So you're gonna see a second part come up in a little bit because I'm about to run out of time on this right now. So anyway, I'm about to put up part 2 in a minute. So be ready for part 2.